once I get this, oh, it's going to feel so good. I need to have this thing. And then you get it, it feels incredible, but then after a while, it doesn't feel nearly as good as it once did, and those feelings fade away, and you're left feeling like, I thought that was it. Maybe there's something else that I really want. Why do we do this cycle to begin with? That's what we'll be exploring in this video. All right, so there's two primary reasons for this cycle, and they're both kind of sciencey. The first is a neurochemical called dopamine in our brains, where it is responsible for motivation and pleasure. So let's say you're scrolling on Instagram and you see an ad for a weighted hoodie, and you have that feeling of like, golly, I need this overpriced hoodie. That feeling right there of really wanting, that is dopamine released in your brain to saying, hey, we should go get that thing. We're motivated to go after that. Now, this isn't just for consumer goods or materials. This also applies to goals as well. So say if you have the goal of making 100K a year, great goal to have. You go to school to get it, to get a good degree, to then make money to get that job. You're motivated to do it, so dopamine is released along the way to propel you in that direction. And then just like receiving an item like the overpriced hoodie, once you get the degree or the job or the first paycheck, another release of dopamine is given because of the reward for a job well done. The only thing is over some time, that feeling fades. And that is because of habituation, which is basically the idea of anytime an organism, in this case a human, is exposed to a stimulus, exposed to something, over time it just naturally fades. And so let's do some real life examples of that. So let's say in a relationship, when you first start a relationship, it's exciting, it's fresh, it's that honeymoon phase, right? After a year or two, while you still may love and care for the person, it's not nearly as fresh and exciting as it once was. Say you put your hand in a bucket of ice water. As soon as you put it in, it's like shockingly cold. But after a minute or two, while it's still cold, it's not nearly as bad as once you first put it in. Your first bite of pizza when you're frickin' starving is heaven on earth. But by the time you're on your fifth piece, it tastes okay, but your stomach's full and you feel like you're about to crap your pants. All right, so here's the cycle in action. So we have this feeling of wanting something. We are motivated to go and get that thing, and notice how the majority of the time is spent wanting or going after it. We get it, whether that be a goal or some type of item, we feel a bigger boost of dopamine for achieving the goal or getting the thing. There's pleasure, more dopamine released. And then over time, habituation takes its course and it doesn't feel nearly as good, leaving us to feeling like we are lacking or missing something once again. And then the cycle kind of just keeps on rolling like that. So why do we do this to begin with? Why do we operate in this sort of wanting reward habituation cycle? Well, it's actually a survival mechanism that our ancestors used to motivate them to go and hunt and get food and water and things like that. Because believe it or not, they didn't have grocery stores, they didn't have refrigerators, they didn't have apps on their phone to have someone deliver bananas to them within the hour. So they had to be motivated, which was a release of dopamine, to have them go and get those things for themselves. Otherwise, they'd be dead and I wouldn't be here, neither would you. So resources were lacking. They were lacking for them. And that's why I can kind of feel today like something's missing. And like that next thing is going to make me feel good. And because the case was, back in the day, it did make them feel good because it was for quite literally survival. All right, so what can we do about it now that we know this? Well, that was actually step one, is just to be aware that this cycle exists to begin with. So good job, you did the first part. Because otherwise, you can become trapped in this cycle of constantly just wanting, getting, thinking something's missing, and doing it over and over. And in today's society, with media and marketing the way it is, they prey on this cycle. They want you to want their things, and they try to make you think that you really need it when you actually don't. And that's how they make their money. So that's how to just be aware of the cycle when it comes to possessions. But when it comes to goals, say this circle right here is a goal, something that you want to achieve. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with going after goals and things you want. But that said, make sure that we're not constantly just focused on the end result. Otherwise, we have seen that over time, it's not going to bring us lasting satisfaction. And if you constantly fixate on the end goal, you actually miss every moment of your life that happens in the present. So just reflect and make sure that the things you are after, specifically with goals, that you enjoy the process along the way. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and got something out of it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.